So the trials and tribulations of the black gays is filled with a lot of trauma, pain, and misery. So let's go ahead and dissect the source, who is the first black gay man in all of history. Let's discuss. Hey y'all, I'm back. Oh my god. What's up y'all? It's your boy Beasley here. I hope you all are staying cool, calm, and collected out there. So you guys, I'm back. I'm finally back. I'm here for a good time. Maybe a long time. Who knows? But I will say you guys, it feels so good to be back. I've been away because, to keep it real, it's been a lot of bullshit going on. But I'm back to give you guys my bullshit and talk about some bullshit. Oh my god, it feels so good to be back on this couch wearing this cushion out. Honestly, did you guys miss me? Because I missed you. I'm back. I have finally arisen from my grave, so it's time to misbehave. Now, there's a lot of content that I have in the works and it's going to be coming out, but I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to come back to you guys with, and I just prayed to God, and I was just like, God, just give me something juicy that I can sink my teeth into. And today, perfect timing like clockwork, we got Karamo and his interview with Carlos King, and also his new piece of bussy on display. And to keep it real with you guys, I have had a video idea written in my notes to do on Karamo for a while. It just wasn't the right time to really put it out and do it, but now's the best time to do it, so let's get into it. And this is going to be a long video today because I have a lot to say. So grab your fat necked ass a snack because once again, finally, Karamo is black. So starting off, if you guys don't know who Karamo Brown is the first black gay man in history. And I call him that because he was the first black male representation of being gay on reality television. I mean, of course we had RuPaul, but RuPaul cut her balls off. So therefore we needed like a man, like a manly man to represent us gays, black gays. Karamo Brown was on The Real World Philadelphia, and you guys, not even just being biased because he was the first black gay man I saw on reality television, but The Real World Philadelphia, hands down, was the best season of that entire franchise. Now the main story here is the sheer fact that he is now dating Jussie Smollet. Now y'all, I gotta keep it real. When I saw that those two were dating, and I'm just like, okay, so we just got two stunt queens bumping pocketbooks for some looks and to give us some black gay male celebrity couple representation. But we're gonna get into that a little bit later. I first want to address his wonderful interview with Miss Carlos Queen. Now y'all, with me, I like to think that I don't have internalized homophobia, maybe just a dash of it like most of us, but y'all, the interview was at times just hard to watch, and not because it was a bad interview. The interview was great. It was marvelous. Like, I have a newfound love for Karamo Brown and a newfound respect for Carlos King. But you guys, it was just all that, yes, bitch, yes, you know it, bitch, you know it, bitch. And then on top of that, y'all, the way Karamo talks now is completely night and day from the way he used to talk. He kind of talks like, it's hard to describe, but it's like that nose in the air, uppity black gay, like, oh, I was this and this, and I was on the Queen's court, and da 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 da, and ha da 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 da. And y'all, representation definitely matters, but it's just, the interview was almost a little too gay to function. And y'all, the sheer fact that these two men, Carlos Queen and Karamo Brown, say that both of their partners call them daddy, and y'all just give, I'ma leave it alone. Listen, I'm all for expressing yourself and being yourself, but goddamn. But y'all, the interview was great. We digged into his ass a little bit, digged into his history, how he was struggling at one point because, you know, he was on The Real World and there was like a huge fat ass gap to where he was on The Next 15, which was created and produced by Carlos King. And y'all, I gotta say, it was nice hearing a viewpoint from Karamo Brown. I think this was like the first in-depth interview he's done in a long time. And from the perspective of a young gay, like, I came to the terms that I was gay at the age of 8. And then later on, when I was either like 9 or 10, that's when Karamo Brown came onto my TV screen. I didn't think that other black men were gay like me. Like, I didn't think that there were other boys out there like me. But it wasn't until I saw Karamo Brown on my TV screen, I was just like, oh, so I'm not weird and crazy. Maybe just a little bit. But the main point of this interview that created talking points was the sheer fact that Carlos actually dug in his ass and asked the question that we all wanted to know, like us black gay men: why exactly do we never see a black man on your arm?
You have a reputation where the gay black community feel like you are whitewashed. They feel like you don't date other gay black men. You only date white men. You love being in white spaces. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of conversation about that on social media, where people do feel like Karamo is one of those black gay male celebrities that once they make it, they start to date white. What are your thoughts on this perception that the community has of you?
They ain't wrong. They're not wrong. I would feel the same exact way. I think that there is a lack of fucking representation in Hollywood of gay black men being together. And as much as I wanted to add to that, and be something like what we see now with Queen, I want to be that. You know what I mean? But you also can't help sometimes who you fall in love with. But as you know, as my friend, I'm always in black spaces. I'm not just with the white girls. I'm always with black folks. I'm all like, I love my people. And as you also know, I date black men. Just so happens that the public only picks up on the ones when they not my race. Like, I'm in a relationship.
Do you got something you want to tell me?
You already know who I'm in a relationship now with a black man. You know what I mean? Like, it's but I do understand. This is like, when people come on here and they defensive about that, I'm never gonna be defensive because I get it. Like, yeah, and if I was sitting at home, I would think the exact same thing. I would think the exact goddamn same thing. And I'm not gonna lie, when I'm in spaces with other gay black men, people who are celebrities that you know, I bring it up. I'm always the one that makes the uncomfortable topic, like, oh, ain't nobody in here, like, and usually I'm the blackest in that room. No shade to some of them, but I understand why, and there needs to be more representation, and that's point blank. But I will tell you this, like, it's my love for black gay men has never changed and will never die down. I love us. I am so deeply attracted to us, and that's just what it is. And I know that so it's only been 3, but because it was at the height of my fame,
yeah,
it just seems like that's it. Because in between, when I'm dating, you don't get those when a show's not on, and then I break up. And so it is what it is, you know.
And y'all, I've talked about it on this channel to death. I've beaten a dead horse with the sheer fact that these black gay celebrity men, when they get on, they always go for a pink hole. They sell their soul for the pink hole. Getting the pink hole is the goal. They want a clear toe. And it's just the sheer fact that we never see 2 black gay men together in any form of entertainment medium. I think the last time we really saw us together as couples, as intimate, was on Noah's Ark. And then thankfully Jussie Smollet actually made B-Boy Blues, which was a book back in the day, and he adapted it into a film. One of my favorite films of all time. But for a long time, we never really ever saw 2 black gay men together as love interests. And I just think deep down inside, they think that black men are just masculine monkeys, and there's no way that 2 masculine, big, rough, tough-ass niggas could be together. The entertainment industry doesn't see that as sexy. These white gay men, the pink mafia in Hollywood, don't see that as sexy. They fetishize black men. They want the BBC fantasy. They want them to be dominant and protect the little Twinkie fairy white bottom. Now, y'all, his excuse for not being seen with a black gay man was the sheer fact that, like, back in the real world, when he was on the show, the black clubs banned him.
What I remember during that time is, and you as a producer, you understand this. They told me to go to the club and go to my clubs. Go where I go. You're supposed to live your life openly. This is 2004. I would go to the black gay club, and when that light would go on for that camera, it's not like today where all the girls want to be on camera. Oh no, they were scattered. Any club I went to, they would, literally everybody would leave. Everybody would leave. And I would be in a club that now on camera seemed empty, and the producers was like, we can't go to these clubs. This looks horrible. You know what I mean? They would sit me down, they'd be like, there's nobody in the club. And I'd be like, it's because the camera, whatever. Is there a way you can turn off the light? You know, and they're like, no, we can't turn off the light. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then at some point, the black clubs in Philly stopped asking me to come because I was fucking with their money.
Yeah.
And so imagine I'm 23. I've now always lived. I used to be in Atlanta at Tracks, you know. Tracks. I used to be, in the club, you know what I mean? For the old girls, they know what I'm talking about. But Tracks, baby. It's an aquarium now, right? I think it's an aquarium.
Is it?
It's an aquarium now, right? Anyway, but so now imagine that's the mindset I'm going to, is that like I come from my community. We black folks, we be all around, and now y'all are scattering from me. Now I'm kryptonite. Y'all don't want to be around me. It hurt my feelings like you can't imagine. I was like, what? And so I had never dated outside my race until that point. I had never dated outside my race. But now I'm on a show. I'm with all these white castmates. I am feeling alone and isolated. And they say, well, if you got to go to the white gay clubs because those are the ones that are accepting you to come in. And this is not bullshit. Anybody would tell you, them clubs said, this nigga ain't coming in no more. So the white girls were like this. They were like, yeah, girl, come into our club.
And I never knew that you were sort of, unfortunately, forced to partake in the gay white spaces because
I was told you can't come back to our clubs.
Yeah.
You had a camera on you. And so when I went to these gay spaces, I couldn't deal. So I found the one Puerto Rican that acted black. That's what I went for. I was like, who in here like a black guy? Who in here? And so I found a Puerto Rican dude who's from Philly that was like, yo, nah, you know, like whatever. And I was like, oh. And so that was the first time I ever dated.
You know, in the black gay clubs, it was a safe space, echo chamber, where what happens there stays there. Who goes there is pretty on the down low, because back in the day, in the early 2000s, even though when black gays were together, it was harmonious and it was a beautiful echo chamber, to the outside, they were still demonized. And by demonized, I mean intersectionality. You know, like the black community looked down on black gay men, especially in the church, especially in the South. It's so crazy that we're demonized in the South when the South is probably the gayest part of the whole entire United States. But in the interview, his excuse was the sheer fact that the black gay clubs did not want him, while he was on that show, to be at their space because of the filming. A lot of people were afraid of the cameras. They ran away. Like back in the day, nobody wanted to be filmed like that. Like a lot of pedestrians caused a lot of bullshit behind the scenes because they didn't like people getting filmed in their city. But in the case of the black gay clubs, like they were supposed to be private, discreet, and DL, so they didn't want to be caught on camera. However, you guys, you know, I could be a little bit of a nostalgia historian. I watched that show from start to finish, and for this video, I watched most of Karamo-centered episodes from that season just to refresh my memory. I feel like you're a little bit full of shit, Karamo. So in the beginning of that season, I believe this was mainly like around like episode 7 or 8. That's when we started to get a Karamo-centered episode where he had a crush on the personal trainer or whatever. He worked at the gym that the whole entire cast was going to. His name was Dorian. He was a beautiful black gay man. He was about like 2 years older than Karamo, and Karamo had a crush on him. Karamo repeatedly went to that gym because he had a crush on Dorian. I mean, of course he wanted to work out, but you know when you see somebody you have a crush on work somewhere, you're going to keep on going there because you're afraid to shoot your shot, but you want to see them. That's what Karamo was doing.
Dorian can see it in me that I am striving to open up myself. He makes me feel like I have an outlet while I'm here in Philadelphia. Someone to share my fears with, my dreams with. Dorian wants a friend. Dorian wants someone he can trust, somebody he can lay it on the line with. I am the man.
Sidebar, y'all. In this interview with Carlos King, he was talking as if he was the only black person on the show, when in reality there was another black girl on the show. They even shared a room together. I think his memory's just like a little bit fuzzy, but it was over like 20, almost 30 years ago. But y'all, just to rewind a little bit, on that show, Karamo came into the show as DL. Like, nobody could tell that he was a gay man. There also was another gay man on the cast as well, but he was more flamboyant. I believe his name was Willie. He was like a Hispanic little twink. But Karamo first came out to the black girl Shavonda on the show at the end of episode 1. And then by the second episode, he came out to the two white boys, Landon and whatever the other one's name was. They both look like twins almost. And therefore, by episode 2, he was out to the whole entire cast. He came out to the world, or in his words, he let people in. But back to him dating the black guy Dorian, I really think at that time he was young and he was full of cum and he was just thinking with his dick. But the thing with Karamo treated Dorian like shit. Karamo was very immature, very passive aggressive, and very much full of shit. See, at that time, you guys, Karamo was black. Like blackety black. He was like C Murder Black, like fuck them other niggas, cause I ride for my niggas. And Karamo had an issue with Dorian because Dorian was the type of black person that wasn't a monolith. You know, he mainly listened to 80s R&B, and he also had a white best friend. Karamo, growing up Afro-Caribbean, like his father taught him to basically not trust the white man. And Karamo had issues with the fact that Dorian was embracing of other races. Like that Dorian was cool with white people to a point where his best friend was white. And it didn't make sense to me because Karamo came into the house with a bunch of white people, only one other black person, thankfully, but everybody else was white. And he was cool with them. They were all right. There was an episode where they started to come to heads because Karamo did that stereotypical black man bullshit of gaslighting, being passive aggressive, and not taking accountability. It was an episode a little bit later on where Dorian came over to the house. He did come over unannounced, but he came over and he woke Karamo out of his sleep because he wanted him to meet his white best friend and he wanted them all to go out with each other. Karamo was being a passive-aggressive asshole. He didn't want to go out and he pretended like he had a headache and wanted to go back to sleep. The whole house saw how he just played Dorian to the left and dissed him, so his castmates decided to take Dorian out and have fun with him and his best friend. And then about a few minutes later, Karamo decides to get up out of his sleep, and then him and Willie proceed to go out to a nightclub. And then later on that night, while Karamo and Willie are out at some random club, Dorian and his best friend comes back, and it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's just like, well, where the fuck is Karamo? So the next day comes around and Dorian decides to come over because he's like, dude, like what's going on? And they go outside and they have a conversation, and Dorian is like, bruh, why are you playing games? I don't play games. Like what's going on? And Karamo is just sitting there being passive aggressive, trying to like break up with Dorian for no specific reason, but Dorian's basically expressing like, look, like I care about you and I wouldn't have brought my best friend around you if I didn't feel like you were an important person in my life. And Karamo's just sitting there letting one thing go in one ear and out the other, and he basically says, this is bullshit, fuck this bullshit, and walks off. And y'all, at the end of that scene, that was the last time we saw Karamo Brown dating another black person. I also forgot to mention, like in the beginning, the first episode, he was DL, right? In that same episode, he's having issues with Dorian. Karamo actually brought over his ex-girlfriend at the time, who also was a dark-skinned black girl. And he was just like, I'm just so happy that you're here because I needed to be connected to my blackness, somebody that understands me. And this was all because Dorian didn't listen to hip-hop music. But after that love interest story that only lasted 2 episodes, a few episodes rolled by, and then I think around episode 21 or 22, Karamo decides to bring home his new Latin thirst of the month. He brought home this dude named Ed, and Ed basically was, quote-unquote, black enough by his standards without really being black. Now, Puerto Ricans do have African ancestry, but how many Puerto Ricans claim that ancestry? So my thing is, you got onto Dorian about not being black enough, and then you end up getting somebody that is quote-unquote black enough without being black. and then later on, you see how tables always turn because now you're being called out for not being black enough. And it's funny how he got onto Dorian for not being black enough, but throughout the rest of your history, you dated nothing but white and Latino bottoms. Now, you guys, after that show, I didn't see Karamo Brown for a while. Like, Karamo Brown was nowhere to be found. Up until VH1 had this special on black gay men in hip hop. And he was a panelist on that show. And he was doing absolutely the fucking most. Y'all, he came on that show as a panelist with something to prove, baby. He was just like, y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do that. Y'all shouldn't do that. It was just like, okay, baby. We haven't seen you in a while. We missed your smile. But dial the shit down. It actually really turned me off. And at that point, I was cool on Karamo for a minute. But like I said, you guys, throughout those years, we saw him here and there, and he always had a white and Latino partner. And he doubled down on his white and Latino-ness when he joined the Queer Eye. Now, you guys, the Queer Eye was a good check. He was on that show for some years. I ain't mad at it. The check was good, and it really elevated him to a point where he had his own talk show. But however, you guys, when he was on the Queer Eye, I feel like that's where he got his nigga wake up call. See, you guys, the spirit of the coon can hit you at different phases of your life. For me, the spirit of the coon hit me when I was a kid because I grew up in an all-white neighborhood. We were literally the only black family. Like, I literally thought white was right, and the ticket to living a good life is be adjacent to white. And therefore, I didn't really value my blackness up until, I want to say, the 5th grade when I got transferred to a new school and was around more black kids. I was able to shake the spirit of the coon very quickly, but the spirit of the coon hit Karamo in his late 30s to early 40s. He was on the Queer Eye getting those good checks, eating some good pink bus, having the time of his life in Hollywood, getting all of the face filler and lip injections that you can imagine. Like, he had finally gotten out of debt. Like, he was doing the damn thing in these Hollywood streets. And, you know, the pink mafia and the white gays were just like, yes, queen. Sidebar, y'all, Karamo, I just need you to lay off the filler. You're naturally beautiful. It's starting to get into that Kermit the Frog territory. But let me get back on track. He was living the high life in Hollywood off of being on the Queer Eye, and then also having his own talk show, which I need to watch. I haven't seen an episode, but I heard it's... Do y'all like the show? But he was getting those good Hollywood checks and was in the good graces of the white gays, and he fell in love with the white gays. But the white gays ended up being lifted, and therefore he was reminded that, oh, still nigga. Y'all, during his time on that show, he was tried by the cast and crew and also the higher-ups. For example, there was an episode that he talked about in this Carlos King interview where they had to do a makeover for a police officer, but they pulled a prank on him because they had him driving the car and he didn't have his license. He didn't want to drive that day. He left his license, I think, back at home or in his hotel room or whatever. And they did a prank where the police officer that they were styling ended up pulling him over. And y'all, it was a whole situation that had him shit his pants because he is the only black man on the damn show. I mean, there's another person of color on the show. There was like an Indian dude, but a whitewashed Punjabi. But that skit shook him a little bit. And also there was an instance where he was hooking up with one of his pink-holed cast members, and one of the higher-ups, which in my opinion, I think was jealous, saw them two leaving an apartment and literally caused it to be a whole entire HR case.
I had no idea that there was a sexual harassment claim on you.
Yeah, there was.
Was it by a cast member or the identity was never revealed?
No, I know exactly who it was. So a cast member and I had a little flirty situation, going on. And one of the toxic higher ups caught us leaving an apartment together and, like, you know, being doing what grown folks do or whatever, hanging. And they went to this cast member and said, hey, if you don't say that he's harassing you, you're fired. And I don't know about any of this because I don't know that's happening. This castmate I still don't know if they said yes or no, but what I do know is that toxic executive took this to HR, and then HR called me and was like, hey, you can't go to set because we've gotten a complaint that you're sexually harassing somebody. And I was like, what? And they were like, I was like, I'm sexually harassing? Like, I'm the father on the show. I don't do any of that. Like, it killed me. And look at me. You got my eyes all watered up and shit. Because you just, this is my first big show after your show, after Next 15. And now the opportunity is going to be gone because someone's lying on me. You know what I mean? And so this now is in front of people. So the crew know that I've been called this sexual predator or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I was devastated. And so they told me who. And so, baby, I'm a stunt queen at the heart. Okay? I'm a stunt queen. Okay? So the minute they told me who I was allegedly sexually harassing, I said, oh, baby, let me send you every text message, video, a photo that I have, and you tell me if I'm sexually harassing. And they called me back and they said, we are so sorry that we even called you. And baby, it was dismissed. And as People Magazine and all the outlets have confirmed, they confirmed with Netflix that it was dismissed, that I was never. But the problem is that when I walked back to set, no one addressed it. Yeah. No one addressed that wasn't true. So now I'm walking into a space where now people are looking at the only black man as some type of predator.
It was a sheer fact that higher up was wanting so bad to make Karamo look like just this big black monster that pounded that white pussy. They wanted to label him as a predator, and Karamo went to that higher up and also HR and everybody in that vicinity and showed them the text messages and showed them everything, all the receipts, and the sheer fact that was a consensual situationship. And y'all, the final straw in the coffin of his time on that show, this happened I think a year ago, like late last year. Baby, these years are running the fuck together. But it was a sheer fact that Karamo Brown's mom overheard the entire cast, his non-black ass cast, talking cash money shit about him to a point where his mom was offended. His mom went back and told Karamo what they said, and Karamo was fed the fuck up and dipped.
See, we call it Fab Five, but one of the Fab Five is not here. We received word just in less than an hour ago that Karamo Brown is not going to be joining us today. He said in part, because I want to rip the Band-Aid off and just get it out of the way so we can really talk about the show. He sent a statement. He apologized for not attending this interview. He thanked the audience. He said in part, I hope everyone remembers to focus on and to protect their mental health, peace from people or a world who seek to destroy it, which is why I can't be there today. His assistant also says that he's worried about being bullied. So let's just address it and get it off the top. I was very sorry to hear this, that he apparently feels this way. What do any of you have to say? You're as surprised as we are, I assume, that he wasn't here.
I think, yeah, surprise is a fair understatement. I will say our Queer Eye family, we've been doing this for almost a decade, which is pretty wild to believe. Mm-hmm. And families are complicated.
Yes.
And we're definitely not excluded from that. But I think two things can exist at the same time. And while that is definitely true, mm-hmm. We're also here to showcase these incredible heroes that we have and really honor the legacy of this past decade of our lives. Mm-hmm. And all these wonderful heroes that we've had the blessing of getting to meet and to have conversations with.
Sober, and you talked about this to people too, but you said the final straw with all of this was that your mom was on set, and she heard some things.
Yeah.
What did she hear?
I still to this day don't know, and I haven't asked, and the reason being is because for me, I asked myself, having that information, what will it do for me? What will it do for my peace? What will it do for me to keep growing and healing? But I do know that there's something about mothers. And as you two know, when you see your mother and you see tears in her eyes and you know all that she sacrificed and how she's taught you to be brave and to be strong. I just remember being young and my mother being like, you're brave, you got this. Those things flood back in your mind when you realize maybe I'm not being brave right now and that I'm disrespecting what my mother sacrificed for so many years so that I could be here today. Mm-hmm. And that was the straw.
And it's just crazy that not even for us, just black people in Hollywood, but black gay people, like you can have a great work ethic, a squeaky clean reputation, and yet they will always try to pull some shit on you to pull you from your position and foundation. So therefore, he woke up that day and he was like, oh, still nigga, I must get away. But y'all, even after he left that show, from my point of view and to a lot of black gay men's point of view, he was still a coon.
You're a coon. You're a nigga.
But y'all, in order to rehab that image of him always being at the Pink Bussy Club, he decided to insert a new form of love. Going back to the black side of things. Well, black adjacent things. In walks Jussie Smollet. So as you guys know by today, Jussie Smollet and Karamo Brown are a couple. I say a couple with quotations because it just... they need more people. Now, I like the both of you. I love the both of y'all. I believe in the both of y'all. Y'all are dope as fuck and y'all are doing the damn thing for us. But however, this situation is just some mutually beneficial bullshit. Jussie Smollett needs to rehab his image after that Subway Osendario brother incident that he created. After having like a great reputation, I keep saying representation, after having a great reputation in Hollywood, he squandered it over a publicity stunt to get his music career off the ground. Now, when it comes to Jussie, I believe in his music endeavors. I loved his music on Empire. He could do the damn thing, and he could have potentially been our Beyonce. Up until that incident, you guys, that incident just soured everything because, for one, he was starting to feel himself a little too much. He was being an asshole, and he was being a liar. And the whole situation was giving cocaine. But him getting with Karamo is mutually beneficial because Karamo needs to be seen as black again. He needs to be embraced by the black gays because we're going to uplift him if he's in the good graces of our gays. And Jussie Smollett needs a very strong story to divert against that publicity stunt bullshit. But you guys, this actually could work. If they play their cards right, it could actually work in their favor. They're already getting publicity. And to keep it real, society is dumb as fuck and forgetful. So if we see like two black gay men that are like couple goals, it's just like, oh my God, they're so beautiful. All the superficial surface level bullshit. And you guys, to Karamo's point in this interview, we do need representation for two black gay men dating each other in Hollywood. We definitely do. But I want the representation, but I don't take this shit seriously because it's not genuine. Just like August Alsina and his Thirst of the Month, it's not genuine. And it's not genuine because Jussie Smollett literally proposed to his now ex-boyfriend back in June, I think June 20th of 2025. Here we are in June. At the first week of June, it was announced that those two broke up. They broke up, called off the engagement. But here we are on June 29th. It's announced that Karamo and Jussie Smollett are now in a full-on relationship. Like their mom was with them on a date and everything. And there we see Jussie Smollett performing at the Pride Month concert, and Karamo was literally right there cheering him on. But y'all, the timing of this shit does not make sense. Y'all broke up June 4th, a whole engagement. Like, there's no type of, like, processing and being single and healing before you hop into another relationship. Literally, like, 2 to 3 weeks later, you're in a full love affair with somebody else. Bullshit. Now, maybe I'm fucking wrong. You know, maybe Jussie Smollett is the type to move from pole to pole like J-Lo. Maybe he's the type of person that can't be single. But one thing I do know, Jussie, is that you do have a problem with cheating. Y'all, way back with that MAGA Subway publicity stunt incident, it was revealed that on the low, he was allegedly messing around with one, if not both, of the Osendario brothers. If you guys don't remember the Osendario brothers, those were the ones that he said they were two MAGA white men, but those were the two brothers that actually, quote unquote, beat his ass in the blizzard. But real talk, behind the scenes, they were beating his ass literally. They were going to Pound Town. And at that time, he was with somebody. And I remember the police asked for his phone, and he didn't want to give up his phone because they would have exposed to the public that he was messing around with one of those brothers. When the police got his phone, all the evidence and messages were heavily redacted. And his boyfriend that was the off-screen character, it was alleged behind the scenes that he broke up with Jussie Smollet after that trial. So therefore, Jussie, like, is this a publicity stunt or were you just cheating on your fiance this whole entire time? Because there's just no fucking way that you and Karamo are this close this soon. And I know what you're thinking, I'm probably a hater. I'll take it, but I just can't help but not call out bullshit. Especially from two people that I look up to and believed in. Like, I still think that Jussie Smollett could be our Beyonce. Like, I mean, real talk, back in the day, he could have been the 5th B2K member, but I will say that I always looked up to Jussie Smollett, and I always looked up to Karamo. And it's like you two bitches are getting together for a publicity stunt to get you guys both over in the good graces of the black gays. And when it comes to Karamo, I'm gonna hop back on your ass because you still have a little bit of the spirit of the coon in you a little bit. Now, do I think Karamo is a colorist? No, but I will say I just think it's funny that you slide back into dating the blacks with somebody who is minimal black. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Karamo is Cuban and also Jamaican, and those are two nationalities that are colorist as all hell. So to me, it's not surprising that deep down inside, Karamo has an affinity for the pink and beige booty hole. But do I think he's a colorist? Nah. I just put it in the title for clickbait. Gotcha, bitch. But yo, this is off topic. We do have a colorism issue in the black gay community. Like, I really just think a lot of black gay men deep down inside think that darker black men are too masculine. You know, like I said, masculine monkeys. Like, that's how most of these whites deep down inside think of us. So they don't think that two of us will be good together. You need to have a little bit more feminine energy and masculine energy to balance each other out. And they feel like any black person would be better off paired with a white or Latin person, somebody that is not as black as that black top. And what better way to hop back into blackness while getting somebody that is half black, if not light-skinned, racially ambiguous? I mean, real talk, like, they already see light-skinned men as feminine. Like, most of them are sons of Prince. Like, even when light-skinned men orgasm, they just go, ah. Or in Jussie Smollett's case, they go, bah. But yeah, y'all, I just want to ask you guys this. Do you all think that Jussie Smollett and Karamo legit are, like, genuinely together? Or are you like me, that's very cynical and thinks that this is a publicity stunt? I mean, it's so funny. Even in the interview, Karamo joked that he was with, what is that man's name? Wayne Brady. He joked that he was with Wayne Brady. And low-key, I actually could see Karamo and Wayne Brady more together than him and Jussie Smollett. Like, them two, I don't even know. Like, if he wanted to go ahead and get him a light-skinned bottom, he could have just went ahead and got Taj Mowry. But anyways, do you guys think that those two are a real couple? But in my opinion, you guys, I'm along for the ride, and I'm interested to see how long this is going to last. But yeah, this is all I have to give. Like I said earlier, you guys, it's good to be back, and there's something I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about it in another video, but you guys, thank you guys for watching this video, and let me know what you guys think. Those are my views. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to come back at you guys with some more content. Time can't erase